Hello, good evening. Hi there. Happy Friday. Adrian here, Quantum Leap Consulting. Hope you're all having a fantastic Friday. Hope you had a great Friday. We're heading straight into the weekend here now. Still coming to you live from sunny Gran Canaria, where it's been a beautiful, mild 27 degrees on the beach there today. We'll give a few minutes and see who else popped on. But it's been a absolutely fantastic week, really speaking to you all every evening. I've thoroughly enjoyed it. I hope I've given um, something to you all to be able to take away from the week, some learnings to take away from the week. My goal, sort of coming into the week here, was to be able to give some insight into how the mind works in order to create success for people. And as I said earlier on in the week, and I maintain all the time, success is a very sort of individual thing. It is different for every single person. Some people, success means for some people, success means looking at a particular job. For others, it's setting up their own company. For others, it's just doing well in the position that they're in. And success, as I said, it's a very very personal thing. That it's but the process of obtaining success in whatever it is that you are trying to achieve is the same. We always say there is no secret to success. There isn't a secret to success, but there is a system, and the system is what I teach to people. That's the Thinking Into Results program, Proctor Gallagher Institute, that I coach people through. That is a repeatable process which gives you the mental toolkit that you need in order to achieve success. And I've been going through the Thinking Into Results program probably for my fourth, fifth, sixth time now at this stage. This and another program that we teach, which is called Lead the Field, and it really has helped me to get a different perspective on life, a different perspective on business, and to achieve some of the success that I and achieve the goals that I've been setting out for myself. So, as I said yesterday, what I wanted today really to be was I wanted to do a wrap up. I wanted to go through the different lessons that we went through during the week. I wanted to explain in a little bit more detail as to why I chose these particular lessons in order to go through with people. Um, and then also for a Q&A, and I'm lucky enough, I've gotten a few questions in overnight. So I'm going to try and after I go through the wrap up, then I will go through the couple of questions. And if there are any more questions from anybody who's watching, please put the comments straight away, and I'll do my best to answer them here live with you all. So take you back to Monday, day one, when we sat down for the first time and we decided we would have a look at goals, how to set goals, how to choose the right goal to set, why people don't achieve some of the goals that they set for themselves, and how we can sort of um, ensure that when we're setting our goals that we are going after the sort of thing that we actually really want, and when we do that and when we go after what we're really looking for, what we really want, how to ensure that we then achieve it. What I would like as well, I'm going to just display on the screen there our email address at quantum consulting irl@gmail.com. If you are able to send me an email, I will send everybody who sends me an email a copy of the book by Bob Proctor, which is the You Were Born Rich book. This was a New York bestseller, New York Times bestseller for multiple weeks, and it's a fantastic read. It goes into a little bit more detail about a lot of what we spoke about over the week. So, just to recap then on goals, if you all remember, we break goals down into three different types of goals: type A goals, type B goals, and type C goals. Type A goals are they're not really goals, really, when you think about it. They are the sort of thing that you already know how to do. So if somebody was going to set a goal for something that they have already achieved, um, then that wouldn't really constitute a good goal. as we said during the week, the reason for setting goals in the first place is growth. And if we set a goal that doesn't cause us to grow, that doesn't cause us to step outside of what we're doing, well, then there's no point. That's not a good goal for people. So a type B goal then goes into the next step. The next step is that sort of setting a goal of something that you think that you want to have, that you think you can achieve. And again, there's maybe a little bit more growth in this particular type of a goal, but it still doesn't constitute. There's no emotional connection really between you and the goal. Most of the time, this is something that's done in the conscious mind. Um, um, a plan that gets put together insofar as, I think if this happens and then this happens and then this happens and I'm able to line up all my ducks in a row, then absolutely I think I might be able to achieve. Now, there may be some growth involved in it, but again, without the emotional connection to the goal, well, then there is no real growth involved in it. And then when we talk about type C goals, and the type C goals are, I always call them big hairy goals, or they are big worthy goals, really is what Bob used to call them. And they're goals that are worthy of you. They're things that you really want to achieve, they're things that you really want. And then we spoke about how to decide on your type C goal. And when deciding on your type C goal, the idea is that you sit down with a pen and a piece of paper and you let your imagination run free. You write down every single thing you can think of that you want, not logically things that you think you might need, but what is it that you want? I remember it was such an amazing experience the first time I did that, and I wrote down 100 wants. Now, it was quite difficult actually to get to the 100 at times because some of us were programmed to not really think about what it is that we want. This is one of the paradigms, which we spoke about on day 3. We're programmed sort of not to really think about what it is that we want and to concentrate more on what we should want or what we should do. Yeah. But the idea of this exercise is to really sit down and to think about what it is that you really, really want. As Spice Girls say, tell me what you want, what you really, really want. So after day 1, then we went into day 2, and then day 2, we started talking about self-image. In self-image, we spoke about how the image, generally speaking, people have got 2 different images. There is the image of ourselves that we project to the outside world, like me here this evening with the way people do their hair, the type of clothes that they wear, etc. That's you projecting yourself to the outside world. And then we have a secondary image, and the secondary image is the image that we hold of ourselves in our mind's eye. And that's the real important image. That's the one that controls whether we're successful or not. Simply because it defines really the limits of what it is that we're going to achieve. If you have a poor image of yourself, most of the time your results would be poor. If you have a really good image or a great image of yourself, your results tend to be much better and much bigger. And if you have sort of a limited image of yourself in your mind's eye, then your results would be limited. What do I mean by limited? We tend to be very critical of ourselves, and probably more critical of ourselves than other people are of us. Purely because of the fact that most of the time other people are too busy thinking about themselves to be really thinking too much about us in the first place. But we one of my favorite quotes actually that I've ever come across is I am not who I think I am not who you think I am who I think you think I am. And when you think about that one, it's not that we're basing the image that we have of ourselves in our mind on any sort of fact of what we think about ourselves or what we know that other people think about us. but we're projecting our thoughts, our negative thoughts about what we think about ourselves onto other people, and assuming then that that person is thinking the same thing about us. And I guarantee you, 9 times out of 10, that person is not even giving you a second thought at all. They are not thinking about you. So stop it. Yeah, don't be thinking what other people might be thinking. Just think about yourself. And you know, at the core of us, we are spiritual beings, and we are capable of achieving, of having, or doing, or being anything it is that we want to achieve, and what we want to do, and what we want to have. And unfortunately, we're stopping ourselves most of the time. That's the long and short of it, is that we are really stopping ourselves from achieving what we want to achieve. So, how do you then change your self-image if you recognize that the results that you're getting are not the results that you want? Then you understand that it's because of the self-image that you have that you're not achieving the results that you want to have. How do you then go about changing it? And there is a very simple way to do that. It's not always easy, but it's quite a simple thing to do. And again, it is to take a pen and paper, to sit down and to write out the script of your life, pretending that you are, say, a movie script writer. And if you think about your life as a movie, and that you should be the star, you should be the main character of your movie. Too many of us are too often sitting back, being an extra in our own movie, allowing other people to have the highlight of our show. You know, call it the Adrian show. You know, or whatever your name is, obviously. We let too many times we let other people be the star of our show. You are the star of your show, and so sit down with your pen and paper and write down the script of you in minute detail, in as much detail as you possibly could, about how you would imagine your life to be if you were the star of your own show. Uh, and then what you do is you write down that script, and you read it, then you reread it, and then you put it somewhere and you read it as often as you possibly can. You know, maybe once a day to start off with, then maybe once a week, and then 2 or 3 times a month, until what we're trying to do here is we're going to try and trick our subconscious mind into believing that what it is that you want to have is what you actually have. The subconscious mind is a very powerful part of the mind. But once there's one facet of the subconscious mind which we can use to our advantage, and that is the fact that the subconscious mind must accept everything that is impressed upon it as the truth. So the subconscious mind doesn't have the ability to reject any information that's given to it, which is why when you're talking to kids, it's so funny at times to, as adults, what we might do, and as a parent myself, what I might do is our younger kids are only use the subconscious mind up until the age of between, say, 5 and 7. And everything that is said to those kids up until that point is accepted by them as a fact. So you can have a lot of fun with kids at times by bending the truth, let's say. But you need to be careful with it too, because everything is then taken as being a fact. Yeah. But why is that important for us? For us, it's important because the subconscious mind can be tricked into believing something is true that isn't true. And once the subconscious mind believes it, the subconscious mind then controls the body, and gets the body to do the actions as if it was true. So I know sometimes you might hear the phrase "fake it until you make it." I'm not a huge fan of that phrase, but it is something along those lines. You are tricking the subconscious mind into believing that you are in already possession of whatever it is that you desire. And when you do that, as I said, the body is an instrument of the mind. The body does whatever the mind tells it to do. The mind believes that you are already multi-millionaire. It'll set up behaviors within the body to act as if it is already a multimillionaire. Those actions then cause a reaction, and that reaction is your result. So what I'll do is I'm just going to share my favorite buddy here again, the stick figure, which I shared with you yesterday and the day before. It's a little bit arrows all over the place. But if we look at the big circle again, so this is the mind. So we let the big circle here represent the mind. The small circle down the bottom here represent the body. We break the mind into two pieces, the conscious mind and the subconscious mind. So when you think something, this is where the thoughts live. The thoughts live in the conscious mind. And the great thing about the conscious mind, as I said, is that conscious mind has the ability to accept or reject anything that comes into it. So if a thought comes into your conscious mind that you're not happy with, you can say, bye bye thought, I'm not happy with that, and we can get rid of it. Likewise, though, if a thought comes into your conscious mind that you are happy with and it's something that you want to achieve, well, then what you can do is you can pass that thought over into the subconscious mind here. And that then becomes a belief. And it's that belief that we're trying to instill in the subconscious mind, because that the subconscious mind controls the belief. The belief sets up an emotion, and that emotional connection to the goal is what we're trying to achieve, by going after what it is that we really want. If we're trying to go after something that we don't really want, the first sort of little speed bump, or hiccup or setback that comes your way, you will go, forget about it. It wasn't going to happen anyway, and you'll just go back to the status quo. So the thoughts in the conscious mind, once we have an emotional connection with those thoughts, come over here into the subconscious mind, they become a belief. These beliefs then set up a vibration to control the actions that the body takes. And these actions here in the body set up a reaction, yeah, or a result. So, like I was saying before, is if you want to know whether the paradigms, because in here then, as we said on Wednesday, in here is where the paradigms live. The paradigms live in the subconscious mind, and they are that mental programming that almost like a computer program that controls about 90% of what we do every day. So if we look at our results and we want to see whether we have positive or negative, whether we have good or bad paradigms, we just look at our results. And if the results are not what it is that we really want, well, then you know that there is a paradigm in here that's controlling and that's preventing you from doing it. So what we need to do is we need to set up a stronger paradigm here in the subconscious mind that is going to give you a different result. And like I said before, most of the time when I've spoken to coaches or mentors in the past, these people would get you to change some actions down here. And what they will do is they'll tell you exactly what it is that you need to do. So in order to get, a positive result, you need to do X, Y, Z down here. And they don't explain why you need to do that, or you know, or we don't go back here to go what controls the actions that you currently have, or try to instill new beliefs or new programs in here in order to give you those actions, to give you those results, which means that after a relatively short period of time, for most people, those actions that they had been taking, as been explained by those mentors, go out the window. And before you know it, you're back to the same old actions as what you had before, based off of your same old paradigms and getting your same old results. Excuse me. So knowing this and understanding this means that you know what you have to do if you want to change your results. So if you want to change your results, this is where we need to work. This is where the work needs to happen. It happens up here as well in the conscious mind, but most of the work happens here in the subconscious mind. And that's how paradigms work. So then yesterday when we were talking about the terror barrier is what happens when you go to step out of the norm, when you go to step out of the comfort zone, and you begin to entertain ideas that are outside of the normal vibration that your body is in, and get different results. What happens is that the body, so we call it the comfort zone, or we call it bondage. When you are in an idea, so say for example, you're a person who earns 50,000 euros or dollars a year, you have X type thoughts. So you think in a certain way. You don't think the same sort of thoughts as somebody who earns 150 or 250,000 dollars or euros a year. You think your thoughts, which lead you to results of 50,000 a year. Um, those thoughts create certain X-type feelings or X-type beliefs. Those X-type beliefs create X-type actions, and those actions give you your results of your 50,000. Now, when you start to entertain this Y idea, this idea that is something outside of what you are normally thinking, what you're normally doing, as long as it lives up here in the conscious mind, and that's the section that we call reason, well, then nothing's going to happen, nothing's going to change, because the conscious mind has the ability to accept or reject. And in this case, we're going to reject it, and we're going to go back running scared into our comfort zone, and that's where we're going to stay. But let's say, for example, the person starts to get emotionally involved in the Y idea. Yeah, and as they get emotionally involved in the Y idea, they go into a chaotic vibration. Yeah, so they're still in the X type actions. They're beginning to entertain this Y idea here in the subconscious. They're beginning to get emotionally connected with it. They're beginning to get a belief that they can do it. And so the body then goes into this XY vibration. And that vibration there, that is the terror barrier. When we're talking about being in that chaotic vibration, we're talking about having, oh, excuse me, we're talking about having doubt and worry up here in the conscious mind, which is sort of fear here is the emotion in the subconscious mind. And that leads to anxiety here on a physical level. And the only way that we can burst through that terror barrier is through knowledge, which is through understanding what's actually going on. And that's what this course is all about. The Thinking into Results program that I facilitate for people, that's what the course is all about. It's by giving you the understanding, it's by giving you the mental tools to understand that, what, first of all, what's going on. Secondly, what can be done about it. And two, that when something happens, you have the ability to not just react to it, but to respond to it. So by understanding what's happening in your mind on a conscious or subconscious level, you then have the ability to respond to it rather than just reacting to it. And when we respond to something, we're able to change it. We're able to understand it, and we're able to change it. So today, then, I've almost gone the whole way through it, but today, what we wanted to do is as I said, I opened up for some questions from people. We got a couple of questions through via email, and I was going to read them out, and then I'm going to go through my key takeaways from the week. And then what I'm going to do is I'm going to have an invitation for everybody, anybody who sees the video, anybody who's watching live, and anybody who watches it on the replay, to just drop me a line. I'd be delighted to talk to anybody who wishes to find out more about the Thinking into Results program, and to just have a let's see, no obligation, free consult or free chat with you, really, sort of figure out where you are in relation to your goals at the moment, and how I can possibly help you get yourself into the place where you start to achieve your goals. So the first question that I had came from a lady called Lisa, and it says, how can you motivate yourself when you're surrounded by negativity and motivate yourself to keep going? Well, Lisa, that is a bit of a difficult situation to be in. We have a saying in Ireland that sort of misery loves company, and that when people are miserable and people are negative, they want to drag you down to that level yourself. The only advice that I have, and it's something that Bob has said before as well, is that if you look at any successful people, you are the byproduct of the 5 or 6 people that you hang around with the most. So if you are going to be hanging around with people who are negative all the time, that's what your results are going to be. You're going to have negative results. And as difficult as it can be to do, and especially if there are close friends or close colleagues, or especially colleagues, because it can be hard to sort of separate yourself out from that situation. But if you want to be successful, and if you want to change and you want to have different results, and you don't want to be in that sort of negative downward spiral all the time, um, you need to separate yourself out from the people who are being negative. Um, Bob told a story once upon a time about I think he was a senior vice president in a large company over in America. And he had a little trick that whenever any of his colleagues um, came to him or started talking in a negative manner about something, what he was his automatic response, which he built as a paradigm for himself, as a program for himself, was to say his response was, that's interesting, and then he would move the topic onto something else. And it is it's a difficult situation. I know. It's one that, let's say, I know I've experienced with myself, in the past of being involved in a negative atmosphere at work, and it can be very, very off-putting. But the number one thing that you need to do, Lisa, is you need to separate yourself from the negativity, and maybe even just that little trick of when somebody starts to get on the negative train, you just say something as simple as, okay, well, that's interesting, but, and then just change the topic to something different, and see how that goes. That's my one piece of advice when it comes to that one. Second question that came through was from John, and John had written, you mentioned about that we become what we think about. My goal is to get out of debt, but I don't seem to be able to do it, even though I think about being out of debt all the time. Why is that? Well, John, that's a much simpler one to answer, to be fair. So we become what we think about. And if you're thinking about debt, whether it's to get in to debt or get out of debt, it doesn't matter. You're thinking debt. And if you're thinking debt, you'll be in debt. So you got to change what it is that you're thinking about from debt to abundance. So either abundance or to having lots of money, whatever it is. So abundance is a word that we use quite a lot of, because we within the PGI, we do believe that we live in an abundant world. There is ample amounts of money out there for anybody. All we got to do is claim it. And again, it's about getting into the right mindset in order to do that. So rather than focusing on the debt, you got to start focusing and imagining the fact that you have all your bills covered, you have got all of your debts are taken care of, you have X amount of money, whatever that X amount might be, in the bank. And if you, again, to go back to the stick figure, thinking about the conscious and the subconscious mind, if you build that belief into your subconscious mind, the subconscious mind will take care of the rest, and it will set up actions within the body that will cause the reactions, which would be to have you in abundance, living without debts. Yeah. So you got to stop thinking right away about debt. Get that word out of your vocabulary and out of your mind altogether, and just think about abundance. I live in an abundant world. And we use affirmations quite a lot within the PGI and within the Thinking into Results program, and it is all about reprogramming that subconscious mind. So you live as if you have already achieved what it is that you want to achieve. So I am so happy and grateful now that I live in an abundant world. Money comes to me in increasing quantities from multiple sources on a regular basis. Yeah. And you just keep repeating that over and over and over to yourself. And maybe you write it down 15, 20, 100 times in the morning, 100 times in the evening time, because that's how we trick our subconscious mind into believing that something is actually true. Um, yeah, I think that's the best way to approach that one. It is the technique that I use, and I write a number of affirmations every morning or every evening, and it's about living as if you've already achieved your goals. So gratitude is very important when it comes to achieving your goals, as is happiness. Happiness is, and love are the two strongest feelings, the two strongest emotions that set up the best vibrations in order to attract to you what it is that you're looking for. So on that note, I'm conscious that it's Friday evening, and many people probably want to in the UK. I think it's a bank holiday weekend this weekend. I think the weather is quite nice at home, so hopefully everybody gets to enjoy that. So my two key takeaways from the entire week are: one, you become what you think about, and two, your thoughts control your feelings control your actions control your results. If you can sort of burn that into your mind, burn that into your memory, that you become what you think about, and then that your thoughts control your feelings control your actions, and your actions control your results. Um, if you've taken nothing else away from the entire week, that is worth its weight in gold if you can do that. And again, I just want to open up a free invitation to everybody. I'm going to put it up here down at the bottom. This is, like I showed yesterday, Linktree or linktr.ee/coach_Adrian. That is my link tree. In there, you have access to me on all my various different social media accounts and all that sort of thing. And feel free to reach out to me. You can even WhatsApp me from there. And I'd be happy to have a free one-on-one with anybody who wanted to talk about any goals that they have. Obligation free, no pressure to get into any particular program or anything. But I would love to have a chat with you. So from me, happy weekend, happy Friday. Thank you so much for being here all week. I really enjoyed talking to you. I hope to see you all again soon. Thank you very much. Take care of yourself. Bye-bye.